Well, we are back.
Hello, hello.
And before we get started on this next session, we'd like to talk a little bit about changes.
A lot's been happening.
Yes. Format change. Bernette did share earlier that we'd be changing the format, so we wanted to remind you of that. And she's going to be doing this rather than trans-channeling, more mediumship style.
Right, having a conversation.
Yes.
Serving as a translator, communicator, which is the medium, with spirit. The voices that want to come through. And it's interesting, we are restarting today, and the actual day of this recording is almost exactly 3 months. It's minus 1 day from when we started the first sessions, which took us through 14 weeks. By the time you see this, a few more weeks may have passed, but yeah, it's been 3 months since we started that.
A lot has happened since then, and you're going to see some more things that are coming that'll show you what we've been up to and what we've been doing.
Yeah.
We're very excited about it.
Very
excited about what Spirit is doing. And
staying busy.
Yes.
Spirit keeps you busy when you're willing.
Yes. So you will see what is coming. So we're going to get started with our session today. And
Spirit Speaks.
Yes.
SpiritSpeaksChannel.com and Spirit Speaks Channel on YouTube. We're on Facebook as well, Spirit Speaks Channel. So please check us out. Some of the new things will be posted there. We'll be having some more blog posts and information about the services that we'll be offering and some of the major changes that are happening with us.
Yes. Looking forward to it.
Yes.
Okay, so are we ready?
I think we're ready.
Okay, we're going to get started, and because we've changed the format a little bit, we know who is coming through, at least the name.
For right now,
yes.
That may not always be the case, and some people don't know, and this is just me taking an aside, I didn't even talk about this before. As a medium, we don't necessarily know what's going to come through, who's going to come through, for what purpose. We are open to, and for myself personally, letting higher spirits come through, those who are coming in light and love and peace. I don't deal with, in mediumship, dark entities, not when I'm communicating as a medium. So those that come through have to have a purpose that is positive. And in this case, those that are coming through have a reason to come through, and they're going to need to have a lesson or something that's positive or that's going to take people forward. And as a medium, I don't necessarily know what's going to happen, what information will come through, and it's not like picking up a phone and simply talking to them. It is interpreting their message. It is understanding what they're trying to say, their emotions. I'm clairvoyant, which means I see, but not like I'm seeing you. I'm clairaudient. I'll hear words. I'll hear phrases, intentions and messages. And I'm clairsentient, so I'll get their feelings. And I'll sense other things. So that's how I work as a medium. And so we'll see what's going to happen channeling spirit without having necessarily a family member, a loved one who's here present with them, which is a different bit of a different experience. But I'm open to being of use and serving. So we will get started now that you have that understanding of how it works.
All right. So, ready?
Ready.
Okay. So we have Angela with us.
Yes.
And Angela, can you tell me what year it was for you? What year is this for you?
She says it's 1922.
Okay. And how old are you?
17, she says. She's 17 years old.
Oh, okay. And where did you live?
She says South Carolina.
Do you recall where in South Carolina?
She's showing me a river, and it's a wide river. Since she lived near Pawleys Island.
Okay.
Near Pawleys Island.
Okay. In 1922.
She says things have changed since then.
Yes, they have.
So
yes, they have. So did you live near an island? Was it like on Sandy Island? Does that ring a bell to you?
She's showing me mounds of sand. But she said they didn't live that close to that. Those areas were reserved.
Okay.
So she didn't live that close to the sand dunes. So she's showing me that there were dunes of sand.
Okay. All right.
But so that they would visit on occasion.
So you did live along the coast of South Carolina?
Yes. Yeah, she did.
So what was your life like in that part of the country in 1922?
The first word she says is hard. It was hard. She's showing herself in the field and pulling
cotton.
It's either cotton or tobacco. I don't. But she's showing a leaf.
If it's a long leaf, it's tobacco.
Okay, she's showing a leaf, and she's pulling it and she's stuffing it into a basket on her hip.
Okay.
She carried a basket on her hip and she's putting it in. She's showing herself pregnant. She says, I was pregnant with my first child, who would be a son.
And what happened to him?
He was fine. I was pregnant. I was fine with my son. But it was my husband. And she said that's why she's here. Because of what happened to her husband in 1922.
So what happened to your husband?
She's showing that it was near crop season, where they were collecting the crops.
Okay, tobacco season.
Yeah. Summer. I don't know if that's the season. She's showing me summer.
It would be summer. I'm from South Carolina. I'm from that area. I'm familiar with it.
So she's showing it would be summer, and she didn't want to do that work that summer.
Okay.
And she needed to. She shows that she's like 3 or 4 months pregnant, so she's not that pregnant. He wanted to do something that would make him more money so that he could provide for their child coming.
Yes.
And he did not want to be in the field that summer. And so he was trying to get a job. He's showing stamps. He wanted a job sorting mail or putting stamps on. He's showing himself sorting mail.
Mm-hmm.
And working where he had some security. So he was applying for a job, and he was getting turned down a lot, but he was trying to get a job with some security.
Mm-hmm.
There were men who did not like that he thought he deserved that kind of work, and that he should be able to take the jobs that were being typically reserved for the white men. Not even women, just the white men. And she's showing me what happened. So she's showing me that he's dressed in his Sunday best, so to speak, and he's walking down the street, and he He's like he's going from one place to another place trying to find work that's suitable for what he's trying to do. And they set him up, is what she said. They set him up. She says he went into a place and he has his bag. He has his bag because he would carry food with him because he would be out all day looking for work. And somebody slipped something inside of his bag. Somebody slipped, it's like an item inside of his bag. And then he got arrested.
Oh.
Because
they accused him of stealing. Item.
He got arrested. And they put him to work through the prison system.
Okay.
And they made him work all through the summer before they released him. And once they did that, she said he would be home for seasons. But she said every time it was time for the crops to be collected, he would get arrested for something that they would eventually drop or say that he would have to, they would work him through that season and then he would be let go. And that, she said, that went on for 10 years.
Wow.
That he was being slaved out. And her son saw this. That every summer he would get picked up for something trivial, very trivial. After 10 years,
what happened? What did you do?
We left. We said we couldn't do it anymore. By that time, we had 3 children. And every summer, it became habit. They knew that their daddy wouldn't be around because he would get picked up so that they could use him in the fields. And he was tired of it. I was tired of it. My children didn't deserve to see that. She shows them getting on a bus. They had very little. They didn't take much more than what they can carry in suitcases. They got on the bus. Where are you going? She shows them getting on the bus, heading towards, it looks like Detroit is what's on the bus, front of the bus. She said that they'd heard that it was better there.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is now about 1932. And it got really bad because of the Depression. So a lot of people were leaving and trying to go because it had gotten much worse in those past few years. So they did leave. They took the kids and they went to Detroit. She said, but it wasn't much better. It wasn't. Everybody was mad. There was so much anger.
So what happened to your family after you moved to Detroit?
It took longer than we thought to get for my husband, call him JR, to get work. I worked as best I could. But besides waiting tables, which I did, I worked, helping other people with their children. On the weekends, he did janitor. He was a janitor. So he cleaned schools and he cleaned some buildings. But it meant that, he wasn't home much in the evening. He had to clean up after everything else was closed. But we were a happy family. Don't get me wrong. We had a good family. we just didn't have much time to be together because we were always just trying to survive. We were trying to survive.
Yes.
She says that once they've been there, she's showing me her son's graduation is what she's showing me. That was, wow. She says that was the proudest moment of her life because neither her nor her husband graduated from high school. And oh wow. So she's showing her son's graduation and they're all there, and her family from their family from South Carolina had come to make the trip because he was the first one to graduate from high school.
Mm-hmm. That meant a lot back then for any of us to get a high school education.
I'm sorry, as I said, McClare's thinking, so I'm feeling how proud she is. And she said she cried for days because she was just so happy that he finished high school. And that meant that he would have opportunities that neither of them had, neither her or JR had. And she said he went by junior too. Wow. And because he graduated from high school,
mm-hmm.
he encouraged the next two to graduate and not give up and not feel like they were pressured to drop out or go to work soon. Because they worked, she said, me and my husband worked our tails off so that they could not have to, so that they could
mm-hmm.
go to school and have what they needed to go to school. She said, we didn't have much. We had enough. Our kids weren't hungry. We didn't live fancy. We had just enough, but they didn't have to work. They could go to school, and that's all I wanted. I wanted them to have it better than we did, and I didn't want them to ever think that they couldn't.
And can you see your grandchildren now are they doing even better because of what?
They are.
Yes, because of what you did, the sacrifice you made.
They are, which means it was worth it.
It was worth it.
She says it was worth it because I saw my son not just graduate from high school, but he got a technical degree and he learned to work on those new refrigerators eventually. And my second son went into the military. And my daughter, she graduated from high school. She got married. And because of that, because she graduated from high school and she'd seen her brothers graduate from high school, she got married to a man who graduated from high school. She had a higher standard. And so her children, but the thing is, by the time her children came along and it was time for them to graduate from high school, she wanted to make sure that they didn't just graduate from high school, that they went to college, that they had some college. And she was the baby, so she was almost 9 years younger than her oldest brother. And so things had changed a lot by then. Things had changed a lot here, and she wanted her own kids to graduate from college. And she had two, and they both did. And I'm proud of them because I never imagined that my family could have lived in a nice house, that they could have owned it on a nice piece of property, and that they could have been doing okay, doing well. And especially not, we worked hard. She said we worked hard to provide them a decent life. And I look back and I just want to say thank you to everyone who was a part of our lives. Because we didn't do it by ourselves. We have community there. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes I had to work and my husband had to work. And we relied on our neighbors and our friends and our church friends. Yes. And we didn't do it by ourselves. So the success of our children is not just ours. It's a community success. Every time somebody from our neighborhood graduated from high school, it was a neighborhood party. It was a neighborhood celebration, she says.
And we need that today.
It wasn't just me and JR celebrating. It was everybody. Everybody was proud because one of us had gotten far enough to get out.
It meant something then.
And so she says, thank you to everybody who was part of that success. Thank you. Thank you. And she says, we need to get back to some of that.
Yes, we do.
She says so many of our kids have forgotten. So many of their parents have forgotten. Even grandparents have forgotten what it takes to raise a child. She said you can't just think it's about you. It's not just about you. It's not just about that one child. It's about that community. And we need to get back to that. She says, I came here today not to complain about what happened to my husband. Not to complain about having to leave South Carolina to go up north and still struggle. No, she says, I came here because y'all need to hear that you need to get going. You need to start working together. All this fighting and competition among yourselves is ridiculous. It's how you keep yourselves down, by fighting against each other.
Yes.
She says she came here to remind us to be community.
Thank you.
It's not about being against anybody. It's about being together. Whatever your community is. She says she doesn't care. She says she doesn't care what color you are. She wasn't taught to hate. Her parents didn't teach her to hate. She recognizes that there were issues. There are issues. They're going to continue to be issues until we start working together as a people.
Yes.
But she doesn't care about that. She says that doesn't separate us. It's what's in our heart that winds up separating us. She said there were white people. There were even some Native Americans who were part of the community that brought us together. It wasn't just blacks. It was mostly blacks in her community because that's where she lived.
Yes.
But they didn't say we won't accept any help, any support from anybody else, because they recognized that getting ahead meant working together.
Right. And we do need to work together.
She said getting ahead meant working together and being a part of a community. She says we hardly have that anymore. Everybody's so busy and so self-centered that we barely have it anymore. She said that's the most disappointing thing about what she's seeing going on right now. Nobody wants to help anybody. Everybody says, mind your own business. She says, this is your business. She says, this is your business. Because if someone down the street fails, it goes back on you too. Because we're all connected.
Yes.
She says, this is your business. We need to work together. We need to build community. We need to learn how to love each other beyond asking, what can you do for me? She said she left South Carolina, yes, because her husband was being abused by a system that didn't respect him, that didn't respect our people.
Right.
She left going north hoping for something better. It was better than where she was, but no, it wasn't great. It wasn't great at all. It was hard. But they learned to be strong. They learned to work together. They learned to come together and have a community. And that's what she wants to share. That's the important thing. Because having a community, working together. She said that's about all she has to say.
Well, I thank you because you are right. We do need to be more community oriented. love each other and care about what happens to the other person. We tend to care what happens to us. But what happens to other people also affects what happens to us. Eventually, it could happen to us.
She's standing there with her hand on her hip, nodding her head in this dress that comes down and it's a mauvey pink. She says she made it herself, so she's still proud of it. But yes.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Angela, because yes, we do need to hear what you have to say.
And she says, I'm proud of my kids. She said, I fell in love with Detroit after a while, but Detroit changed. We lost what we had. And my kids had to move. They don't live in that area anymore. A couple of them are still, the descendants are still in the Michigan area, but they left Detroit. And she says she's so sad because Detroit was becoming something. And she said people feared it. People feared what we were doing.
That's powerful.
She says, but it's time again to create something and not let the fear of other people, she says, burn it down. She says, don't let the fear of other people burn down the progress. We need to rebuild things.
So it's a message to Detroit for all their struggles right now.
Yes, she said, we were something. It's still there.
If you work together. And become community again. Yes, there is hope. Well, Angela, I thank you for sharing your story and your truth with us, and for giving us the words of advice about community, because we do need to hear it. And so that we can stop fighting each other and start working together. So with that, I would ask you one more question. What do you think your life purpose was when you were here? For all of what you went through and your struggles with your family and your husband, what do you think your life purpose was? And what did you learn from it all?
Well, looking back, I didn't know it at the time, obviously, but she says, looking back, it was to raise good children. Grounded children who would make a positive impact on the world. And my children, they are my legacy. They are my reason. And I raised them good. They didn't go to jail for no dumb stuff. Now, one of them got arrested, but it was on that old school stuff that they used to arrest our kids for nothing. But you know what? I forgive them because they did not know their ignorance at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays they do it. They know they're wrong. But I forgive them for what they did. But my kids, they all turned out okay. And because of that, they're raising children. And they're raising children. And it's going on down the line. My purpose was to create some good people in this world.
That's awesome. And so are you now at peace with all of what happened in your life?
I am. It served a purpose. Had JR not been so abused in South Carolina, we would not have had the motivation. We would not have had the reason to go so far away. And because we went so far away, we found community with people who were also wanting better, who had also had the idea of leaving the bad behind. See, it's a mentality, she says. It's a mentality of slavery. It's a mentality of bondage and accepting things that are beneath you. And we had to leave that behind. But had he not been so mistreated, we probably would have dealt with it.
And you would have stayed there.
We would have stayed and complacent. But we were pushed out by a system that didn't appreciate. He was such a smart man.
Ahead of his time, probably.
He was. He was such a smart man. He never got to live up to his full potential. But back in those times, very many people did. But because he wanted more, after a while he said, I can't do this place anymore, and we left.
Mm-hmm.
And I supported that because I wanted more for my children. And I knew that growing up there, they would probably have the same or similar experience that JR
Yes.
did. And that's
Yes.
not, they didn't deserve that. They didn't deserve that. Not when I wanted them to have a good life.
Yes, and fewer opportunities.
Yeah, there were. So
Yes.
we left. It wasn't easy. Yes, we had a hard life. We worked hard. And we worked hard, but we didn't have a lot to show for it. But we had our kids, and we had a happy life, and we had a good marriage, and we were partners.
And now you have a legacy.
And yeah, I'm proud of my children and my grandchildren, and even the great-grandchildren that come before. I'm proud of them.
That's great.
And that's
That
what
is
matters.
great.
You
Yes, it
leave
does.
something good behind. Leave
Yes.
something good behind. So I think I'm done.
I think you're done, and I thank you.
Just thank you for letting me share that. We've been waiting a while for y'all to get back. Okay.
We know. Well, we are glad to be back and glad that you have stepped forward to
Yes,
share
thank
your
you.
story and all of this good advice for us. And
Thank you.
We
And you were
thank
looking quite lovely. You were looking quite lovely. Yes.
Was that too?
I was just telling her.
That she was looking quite lovely.
Yes. Yes.
Well, that was awesome. So we thank you, Angela, as you step back. And all right, so I guess that is going to conclude this session. And, just in keeping with the format, I'm going to close with a prayer because it was good, and just because it's good, we still offer the gratitude. So we're grateful for Angela, who has come through to share her story and her truths. And we're grateful for all of those who are listening and open to receiving it. May healing, love, and light be received by every person participating in this event on both sides. And let love and peace make us all one and community. Amen.
Amen. Amen.